What's cracking, people? I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, this is Bent Legs, and as you can see today we're back on the road for the first road trip episode of 2025. I've been in hermit mode for like the last 7 months in my studio, working away, doing toy making, and all those kind of studio videos that you've been watching over the last few months. But today we're doing the first episode where we're actually going out and about, and I'm going to pick something up today from somebody who is a very, very talented guy. Not only does he work for one of the biggest game companies in the UK, he's also an incredible sculptor and 3D printer, but he's also, on top of all that, got a couple of things that I'm going to be picking up today that's going to be used for future content on the channel, maybe even a series of videos. Very talented dude, got some really awesome stuff to grab from him today, and I've been looking forward to this for a long time. So if all that sounds like a bit of you, as always, sit back, make sure you're comfy, and get yourself ready for a brand new road trip episode, the first road trip episode of 2025, right here on Slimehouse TV. Let's do this. So as I mentioned, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how we got on recently when we went to visit a friend of ours called Richard, aka Cosmic Constructs, checking out the awesome stuff that he makes, see a bit of his creative process, and also pick up a couple of goodies that he'd got saved for me to bring home as well. So we headed out Stafford way to link up with him at his apartment, where we were greeted straight away by some very impressive pieces that he'd been working on, that obviously I had to find out more about. Cool, so Richard, tell me a bit about these that you make, because I've seen these on your Instagram like many times, and I was blown away that they're all FDM printed. So to anybody that doesn't know, FDM printing is like on a spool of plastic like this. I'll show the machine later, but it's very different to the resin what I do. And the thing with FDM printing, filament printing, is this is the one where you get the lines, right? This is always when you see something cheap for sale on eBay or whatever that's been 3D printed and they've got the lines, this is why. So I was always put off that printing for what I do. But then when you were showing me the finishes on these, like, it was incredible. Like, just tell me how you get this kind of finish and how you sculpt these and the whole process, man.
Yeah, so you can trick it. If you print things upright, you can get around a lot of the lines. So I print everything quite vertically. So if you've got anything rounded, you want to put it like flat to the bed, and you basically get rid of a load of the lines by doing it. So all these are like super smooth because of that. There is still some sanding, so it's not completely nonsense.
Yeah. But I have to sand my stuff. There's always some sanding involved.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you can even on these, you've still got some layer lines and stuff on. But
have you got anything like printed that you haven't sanded? Have you sanded everything? It'd be good to see something up close.
This one is not. Yeah, this one will not have been sanded in the slightest bit.
Let's have a look in the light here. So that's just straight off the bed.
Yeah. And you can see some lines still.
Yeah, but boy,
I know,
that's had nothing on it.
Yeah, that's had no sanding, no sanding whatsoever. This was like one of those. I want to test how good the printer is. You know, like what can it do at the bare minimum without? Because I don't want to spend that. Like anyone that's sanded this stuff is terrible. It takes hours and hours and hours.
I hated sanding this stuff.
And you can't do anything powered because anything like too much heat will just melt it. Yeah. So you can't do anything like that. It has to all be hand sanded. And
it's not like my resin that you can sand as much as you want, it'll never melt.
And it's beautiful, just one little bit of sandpaper and all those dots come off when you're using resin.
That's crazy.
But obviously, like the limitations of resin printing, try and do anything long and like flat, hard surface, it's just terrible. You end up with warping, elephant's feet all over it. It's just so difficult to like get a really nice straight print. Well, I have found that anyway.
So you've gone through lots of processes back and forth to get it looking this smooth, I take it. Like, and now you've kind of got it down to a science.
That's what I know we were talking about before about how good bamboo is. That's how good bamboo is. Like I didn't, when I was making it, I had no idea like how small I could print things, how big. I'd done tiny bits of printing on a CR10 probably about 8 years ago. And I wanted something I could just plug in and it will do all the work. Yeah. So the Bamboo Labs, I just chuck something to the printers, test print it, see what worked. I might have to change the orientation. Some of these were printed in half. I managed to get it to the point where this didn't have to be in 2 sections. It was printed in 1. And it was just trial and error.
Printing to me is like a means to an end. I don't want to be a technical guy. I'm an artist. I want to sculpt the thing. I want to paint it. The thing in the middle, I just want the easiest way to get that off and smooth as possible. So it looks as much like my sculpt so I can paint it.
You don't want to do tweaking and stuff.
No, I don't want to be printing loads of different ones. I'm not into dialing in little different digits and codes and getting everything finite settings. I don't like that. My brain don't work like that. So the fact that you've got these without too much of that is really appealing.
Because I think I think if I was printing that prototype and it had gone badly, I'd probably sold the printer because I'm not.
Oh, really?
I'm not
impatient.
Nah, you said this would work.
I'd probably be
very
then
similar. Obviously, when the first one came off the print, I was like, hold on a second. I don't think I had anything fail on that. And I was like, nah, that's shocking. Like that can't be true. I've fluked this. And that's why I built a second one.
I love the colours on this one. So what are these? Explain them, because they look like some kind of, they could be some kind of industrial, utilitarian, almost like something from Aliens, but then you've painted them like racing vehicles. Yeah. They remind me of something from like Wipeout or something. Where do these come from?
That's what it was, purely. I just wanted something like blank canvases, because my background is 2D art. I love graphic design. I've been doing graphic design since I was 16. So like I was like, right, I'm going to be brand new to model making. I don't know a lot about it. Terrible at painting. So how can I like get around that? And yeah, so decals, vinyl cutting, logo design, just plaster them. And then like, yeah, just developed a whole brand around them. A load of different like fake sponsors.
And the thing as well, putting other little brands on, makes them feel lived in. That's why I always loved like Neil Blomkamp movies, because someone would pick up a rifle, a mech suit, and there were little logos and branding and sponsors all over it. And that to me makes something feel like it's like lived
those
in.
things wouldn't disappear just because it's in the future, right? We're proud to make this, you know, huge machine that's going to kill. You know, people are proud of that stuff. So it's like,
and these are all your own designs then? This is something you've designed and you've sculpted. I really, really love them, especially this one with the neon pink. And
that's probably my favourite.
This popping green, yellow, like I absolutely love it. So this one, this Mobius from Gundam Seed, did you sculpt that from scratch, or is that an existing STL? Or did you just see it and think, I want to make my own version?
Yeah, there was no decent version of this as a large scale. I couldn't find any decent STLs.
They've all been Gunpla kits.
Yeah, and obviously like if it's not a Gundam, most of these kits, like most of these just don't exist. There's no like big need or want for them. And I've always loved this. I thought it's such an amazing design, the way that all the barrels come off and, you know, fly off and they're still wired up and stuff. It was a shame it wasn't in the series for longer, because it was brilliant.
Spoilers!
No, sorry guys. Yeah, but I felt like mobile armors don't get a lot of love in the Gundam world, especially not with the kits. And obviously, like you can probably get one that's like 4 inches long and stuff. But I wanted something big, and I just got a new.
I'm going to be a right adult about what you just said, because I was just going to jump in with a right stupid joke, but I won't.
But yeah, so I just got a new printer from Bamboo Lab, and I was like, right, this is the perfect model to test it, because it's their tiny mini version. So I was like, right, I'm going to put this through its tests.
That little desktop.
The tiny mini one that I've got that I'll show you in a bit. Like this whole thing was printed on that, minus the stand. It couldn't quite fit the base in, but everything else flawlessly printed first time, and it was amazing. And like I said, just so happened I'd just finished this, and I was able to start printing it. But like, I'm used to like proper straight edges, hard surface. It was a really, just to do the front, the cockpit. Yeah, that was really difficult. I'm going to stick to straight edges because they're much easier to do.
And is this been painted, or have you printed in that orange filament?
So it is printed. It was printed orange, but it wasn't good enough, so I just gave it a quick base coat. But the orange is the rest of it has all been done. Yeah, I've just kind of left it. It's this was the one I actually wanted to weather, and I wanted to give it a bit of, but I've moved on to new things. It went past its deadline, so I had to move on to something else, like all things.
So what you've got here is, to me, one of the most impressive things that you've made, and it's actually the most recent thing that you've built. And it's basically in scale with the action figures that I've been making, which you didn't even mean to do, did you? No, you just printed it at like a nice scale, and it kind of scales up nice with the Marines that I make.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me a little bit about this beast, what it is, where it's from. I know a lot of people watching it will know what it's from, but you tell me why you did this and stuff, and how you put it together.
Yeah, it was purely for that. I wanted something that is it's a bit of a shelf piece, right? Something that's not a spaceship, and I wanted something that I could teach myself how to paint, but
because this is the first thing you've ever painted.
Other than like I said, a Space Marine, 5 years ago, did one, went, oh, that's satisfying. I wanted to paint something that was mine that allows for mistakes, because obviously, like if it was an arm between this and a dreadnought, and I thought, well, dreadnoughts, you can make less mistakes. Orcs, you can make, it can be tatty, it can be ragged, it doesn't matter. Like I was doing strokes and I was thinking, oh, shall I leave that in or shall I remove it? And I think because of the fact it's an Orc model, I was like, nah, leave it in. I'll leave those extra scratches. Yeah. This still hasn't had weathering, so that's still to be done.
But this has proper inspired me, because I've wanted to make like dreadnoughts and bigger stuff to go with the figures that I make. Like I said, this is perfect scale just by a fluke. And yeah, I mean, this looks like it would sit right in with the figures that I'm making. Yeah. But I couldn't print this in resin. No. I could in so many different parts, but resin warps. Yeah. You try and print stuff straight in resin, it sometimes bends a little bit, don't look perfect, don't fit together right.
And I purposely didn't try and get rid of all the layer lines. There's not much sanding on. There's a tiny bit. I found out if you use matte PLA, it's much easier to sand than just like standard like PLA. If you get matte, it's a bit easier to sand down with just standard sandpaper. But I didn't do much, because I thought, again, if there's a couple of like weird layer lines and stuff, hopefully just the weathering alone will kind of like stop that from coming through.
But you've also incorporated and integrated like metal pipes.
Yeah.
And you've got like some bowls in there. Like, were they wooden bowls or something? That you
Yeah, and
incorporated
this is
as
like
the bowl?
laser cut. I just stuck a load of things together. I felt
yeah.
like I wanted to put like a, I was like, I don't want to put the logo on. And I knew I could do printed decals. I thought, nah, I've done that to death. Like, I thought, nah, I stuck a load of stirrers together and then just stuck them in my laser cutter just to get the fact that they look like, decking almost.
Panelled wood.
Yeah, and I thought, it felt like the sort of thing that Orc would do. You know, we haven't got a logo, I'm just going to make one out of wood, stick on the side. Same with the spare leg. I kind of wanted to have like a leg.
Oh yeah, of course.
I was going to put, and I probably, hopefully still will, I wanted to put like just some white paint saying like on loan on the back, like it's been stolen, because they always nick stuff from other people's stuff, don't they? It's like a hierarchy.
I love how the chunky these chains are.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I was just looking at them.
No, because I wanted to do like loads of schools, and I might do a banner and stuff. But again, like I'm just glad it's got to this point. I didn't mess it up. I learned so much from doing this, and like taking that first step to painting, it means that I can like, I'm not going to hold back anymore from not painting my models.
And I feel like out of all of the stuff that I'm showing in today's video, this is the thing that people who watch my channel, or at least joined it recently through the Warhammer stuff that I've been doing, Warhammer inspired stuff, they're really, really going to dig this thing.
Now everything that Richard digitally sculpts is done in a program called Plasticity, a program that I'm very interested in learning how to use because he showed me some of the basics and it looks very versatile, a lot more simple to understand than stuff like Blender, which I can never get my head around, so it's very likely that you're going to see me using this at some point on the channel in the future. But it was actually a conversation with Richard about plasticity that got us onto the thing that I'd be picking up in this episode, something that was just way too big to post out to me. So this is a scaled down replica of an old 1970s The Warriors style New York City subway train, and this is actually something that I was going to attempt to sculpt myself for a project, but when I spoke to Richard about it, he wanted to try and do it for me, so we basically agreed that we would do it as a collab. He would handle the sculpt and I would handle the painting. Now this was quite a few months back and it was finally time for me to pick it up, and it was also my first time seeing it in person, so I was super excited, and when I first laid eyes on it, it was safe to say that the photos that I'd seen prior really didn't do it justice. Like, this thing is incredible.
This printed really easily. It's in a lot of parts,
Yeah.
but when it started going, like, I was more worried about the structure of it and the weight of it, but actually it's really good. It's really lightweight. You can move this around, and it's
Good, because I don't want the shelf that it's going on to collapse.
No, it should be okay. I mean, yeah, you can lift it with one hand.
Sweet,
yeah.
sweet.
So yeah.
And also one of the things that we wanted to do was to be able to like put figures inside it and photograph it, because obviously you've printed it, you've primed it, you've sanded it, and the finish is incredible. But I want to obviously photograph figures inside it. I'm going to paint it all, and in order to get inside it, you come up with like some little clever way of doing things. Let me see that.
So it's all magnets.
This is the first time I'm seeing it, by the way.
Yeah.
I've avoided looking at this all day because I didn't want to ruin the
because
the
obviously,
initial
I was
reaction.
conscious that you wanted to be able to paint everything, take it apart.
Yeah, look at
so,
this.
and the sidewall comes off. So
Does that come off with magnets?
Yeah, so these are
super
magnet
slick.
points. So for structure, there's magnets on the roof that will attach to it, and then there's magnets underneath here as well that will attach. So yeah, and then you've got, because obviously you'll want to perhaps take some of the seats out.
Look at this. This is the engineering that I'm always trying to get better at.
And then you can take. So if you want to paint, if you can stick these back in, you can glue them in. But I just thought, you know what?
they like
you
to
might
be
not
able
want
to take them out.
So
Easier to
I'll leave that
paint.
one. But yeah, these all come out. So you can paint them, stick them
That's
in,
insane.
and then obviously these two. If you ever just want to have it, you know, you might want to change it up. So you can always just leave these two not glued down and have them so you can take them out.
And I can put the lid on that keep this open.
Yeah,
I can film through the little windows.
And these bits come off as well.
It's like a proper playset kit, like.
So I've also,
And this plastic feels like plastic, doesn't it? You don't feel like brittle resin. It feels like
it feels good. It's good. It's good PLA. It's
durable.
So,
Playability. Which is good when you're just smashing it around.
I know, yeah.
But
the reason I left these off is obviously because you might want to do some detail on the front, and it's a pain, right, if you have to hold like a whole thing. So once you've done these, come in, prime the whole thing.
And this is why it helps someone that's like builds this stuff themselves and understands those little problems that someone else who just sculpts it might not think about. That's super helpful.
And any issues you have, obviously I can reprint bits and I can get you a new one in the mail. Like, I've still got all the pieces for
it.
So your doors, so all the glass comes out. So you've just got these, I don't know if you see, the little slits at the top.
You've gone above and beyond, man.
When you're painting, and then you've got a little kit, so I've given you some extra glass.
Yeah, so what's going on here?
So that's your extra glass in case you need to cut some more.
Extra glass.
In case you scratch it. You just cut it.
Just be a Stanley blade.
Yeah. Cuts really easy. And then these are all your poles.
Oh, these are the little posts inside.
I didn't stick them in because I didn't know where you wanted them. So you can place these wherever. You might want this bit dead open, and you might just want one in the middle.
And they're cut to scale.
Yeah, so they will literally it'll sit with the roof on top as well.
No, you've absolutely smashed it. I can't thank you enough. I'm so looking forward to painting this thing. Obviously, this is going to be like a whole other video. I've just talked about how I want to do these like Slime City kind of dioramas and stuff for my toys, and this is obviously going to be a big part of that. This is so cool, man. And you did it 1,000 times better than I would have.
It's been an amazing challenge, honestly. Like, it taught me so much. Again, like everything should do, right? Every time you do a model, it should teach you.
It can tell you so much about subway trains now.
Yeah, well, because I thought I'd cheat. I'd be like, I must be able to find a model of this somewhere and just adjust it to what you want. There wasn't. There was like and I was like, why? You know, you'd think there'd be loads of enthusiasts for like subway trains in America. You know, obviously you can buy like the train models that go around a train track, but I thought there's still no models of them. There's no STL. There's no I couldn't find any good STL files, and nobody can see the underneath. Like the underneath just seem to be completely like.
It's such a beautiful piece. I can imagine like a gallery full of these with like 20 different graffiti artists all doing their own thing. Do you know, all different. Yeah.
So good.
So cool.
Yeah. And hopefully, like I said, you should be able to lie on its side with the structure of the roof on, and you should be able to paint on the top, and it should be absolutely fine.
So the reason that I wanted this random old New York City subway car will become more clear in a future video. I'm going to paint this thing, I'm going to weather it up, I'm going to graffiti all over it. It's going to be a whole separate project. And as much as this video was about me going to his house to pick it up, it was also really cool to see all the other cool stuff that Richard makes in person. And I'm sure anybody that's watching this will agree, it's all very, very impressive. Now, I've only known Richard for like a year. I met him through Dan Does and Bill Making Stuff and watching movies with him all on Discord, and that's how we connected, and I'm so glad that we did. But the reason that he found out about YouTube crafting videos and just that whole scene in general and how he connected with us all in the first place is actually a pretty deep story.
So I was diagnosed with bowel cancer a couple of years ago. And anyone that knows that going through chemo, you're drained, you can't really do much. So it just gave me lots of time just to sit, watch, YouTube all day, and then just inspired me to go and look at Pinterest. I've filled like thousands of boards with different like ships and vehicles and all sorts of stuff that I just thought, I can't do it, I'm restricted, I can't do any of this stuff, and it builds like a fire. You really want to just get your hands stuck, you want to buy all the stuff to get it done, and obviously you can't, you've got no energy, you've got no strength in your hands. Like, I faced nerve ending damage, permanent nerve ending damage. So I was like, right, if I get better, I'm gonna...
Nerve ending damage, what is that?
So the chemo, it will literally affect the ends of your fingers and your toes. So I couldn't hold anything cold, I couldn't hold anything hot. It had to be like room temperature. All my cutlery had to be plastic because it was kept at a nice temperature.
Yeah.
If I touched anything like, if I went into the fridge to get milk like I did the first time on chemo, you go into shock and it almost feels like it's choking you. So I was like, right, I made a deal with myself. Like I said, I've always been a 2D artist. I was like, if I get the opportunity and I heal up and, I make it through, I'm going to do something practical. I'm going to do something physical.
Because you watched a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it was just like, what happens, you watch one and then like I said, Craftsman, and then you just go down the rabbit hole of looking at everyone.
We all start with the Craftsman.
Yeah, everyone starts with the Craftsman. And I was like, no excuses, right? You've been given a hand here, like to sort this out. Like I can still do my digital stuff. That's why the ships were so good. They allowed me to bridge that gap. I was able to build something and still do the graphic work. So it was a really fun medium ground between the two. So it's kind of like a weird blessing. Like cancer is horrible, but what came out of it was this hobby, and it's amazing. And I've loved the fact that it's the amount of I've made friends. It's been amazing. There's such a good community.
Yeah, the maddest thing is we wouldn't be here today if you would have not had cancer.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got in touch with Dan. Like we wouldn't have had our film nights. I wouldn't have met you.
Yeah.
So so something really good came from it.
Yeah. And you're all right now.
Yeah. Touch wood.
Yeah.
We're good. But it's not until you're forced to slow down. You're you can't do anything. Like there's nothing I could have changed about that scenario. You're fatigued. You're not feeling great. You're bedridden. In those moments when life finally slows down, and you're like, but it's at those moments you're like, well, I can't do anything else, and now is the time to do some deep thinking, to think on what you're going to do when you recover. There's a lot of people out there that might not have been able to recover like I did, and I wasn't going to waste it. yeah, it's been great to see people's reactions. And
I was so impressed when I first saw your stuff, dude. Sorry to cut you off again,
No,
but
man,
like, these
fine.
just get me excited, and I was so impressed when I saw them, and I was like,
Yeah.
no way does this guy just make these. And I start messaging you and asking questions. How did you do it? Did you sculpt it from scratch? Be honest.
Yeah.
Did you do this or is it STL?
I've stolen them from somebody
did you
else.
steal these?
No.
Sometimes people make something and you find out it's not theirs, but no, like you literally sculpted it all. I'm asking what software you use, how you print them so smooth. Super, super impressive.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful
And with that,
to be able to see them in person.
Everything fell into place, right? I've tried to use like Blender, 3ds Max, all that sort of stuff.
Blender. Can't
Awful.
get my head around it.
It's just to sculpt something like this would take me weeks, and I'd get so frustrated because it's so unforgiving when you mess up. You're like, right, well, I've got to go back to a previous file or whatever. Nah, just pure like cut away, do what you want. And then that combined with just the ease of using like the bamboo printers, and it's brilliant. Like it's the perfect time in history to do this sort of stuff. It's great. Everyone should have a 3D printer. Everyone, because it just opens up a whole new creative world.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself, and if you enjoyed hearing Richard's comeback story and seeing his builds in this episode, and you want to find out more about what he does, then make sure you follow him over on Instagram, and as always, if you like this video, then don't forget to tap that little thumbs up button and let me know down in the comments what you think of what he creates. And also, if I do finally decide to delve into FDM printing, which let's face it, after today's video, I'm super inspired to do, what would you like to see me create as my first piece? Maybe something Warhammer related or something completely original? Let me know down in the comments below, because like I said, after today, I'm super inspired. Now, as I mentioned, I've got big plans for this New York City subway train, all stuff that I'm going to get into in a different video, but this wasn't the only thing that I picked up during this visit. I am though going to be saving all that stuff for a future video, but here's a sneak preview, so if you are looking forward to that, then you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel and keep your eyes peeled, because I picked up some amazing stuff here, and the videos that's going to feature it are no doubt all going to be a lot of fun as well. I want to say a massive thanks to Richard again for allowing us into his home, letting us see all of his fantastic creations and chop it up with his awesome little cat. I want to say a big ups to Bentlegs for always handling the driving and the camera work, and of course, I want to say a huge thank you to you lot for watching this video today. With all of the other stuff that you can be watching on YouTube, it really does mean a lot that you come back here every single week and watch some Slimehouse TV, and I hope to catch you in the next episode. So until then, I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, and I'm gone. Pow.